What's happening, guys? Back at you with another video. So, over the past week, we have gotten the new release of the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, this was definitely a movie I was excited about. I was definitely looking forward to it. So, this video basically going to begin my review, going to begin my thoughts and what I thought on the overall movie. So, let's go ahead and get into it. So basically, kind of a little history with my, a little history that I have with Mario is I played a few of the Mario games. Probably not some of the recent ones, but the game I always go back to is Mario Kart. That's probably the Mario game that I play most often nowadays is the Mario Kart. But I have played different Mario games that were on like the Game Boy, that are on Nintendo 64, the GameCube. That's probably yeah, I'll say probably like around the early 2010s is probably like the last time I played a Mario game, maybe fully. But like I said, other than that, I've always played Mario Kart. I still play Mario Kart to this day. It's one of my go-to racing games, and still one of my go-to Mario games that I still play to this day now and then. So I was definitely excited for this movie and what it was going to bring for this, having this Mario movie and what it was going to bring to us. Upon watching it, though, over the weekend, I gotta say I enjoyed this movie so much. This movie really had me laughing a lot. Really had me smiling throughout the whole movie. Like this movie really was something that was fun to watch. Like I had like a blast watching it. Honestly, to say, like, this is the most fun I had watching a movie probably in a while when going to the theaters. When I go to some movie theaters, I enjoy movies, yeah, sure. But as far as like having fun watching a movie, this is probably in a long time. This is probably the most fun I had in the theater watching a movie. So I gotta say, this movie is just a fun watch. It's a blast to watch. Honestly, just overall a good time to watch. And really, one of the things I was kind of I won't say worried about, but I was kind of thinking about before this movie. We got the announcement of this movie, and then we got the announcement that Illumination was going to be doing this movie. I don't really have anything against the studio or anything like that. I just don't typically watch too much of their movies. The movies. I know they made Despicable Me, which is a pretty big franchise on its own and all that stuff, but I don't really typically watch the Despicable Me movies. Really, the only movies that I've actually enjoyed watching and actually watched multiple times from Illumination was the Sing movies. They have two Sing movies. Those are probably my favorite Illumination movies. Um, so I was kind of wondering how Illumination was going to adapt this whole Mario movie upon hearing the announcement that they're the studio behind making this Mario movie. So I was kind of wondering how they're going to do it animation wise and just overall how the production and everything's going to go with this movie. Whenever we finally got the first trailer for this movie. I definitely was more excited about it. I saw what they're able to do. I still was wondering about overall voice casting and all that stuff with how they were, with the cast of characters that we have, or the cast of voices that they got to voice the characters. So I was still a little bit worried, not worried about that, but I was still wondering how that was going to play into effect and all that. But as far as the animation goes and production quality, I was definitely more excited for it once I saw that first trailer. It looked pretty good. And so I was definitely excited for it. And we got more and more trailers. I was getting more and more excited for this movie. Talking about the voice cast, I think the voice cast, when they announced the voice cast, the people who are going to be voicing the characters, I really wasn't too worried or taken aback by it, but I was wondering. They didn't announce Chris Pratt, and I have nothing against Chris Pratt or anything like that. I was just wondering how he was going to voice Mario, because we all know Mario is famous for having an Italian accent. I was wondering, are they going to keep the Italian accent? Are they going to do something different? And the trailers. I don't think the trailers really built up to that, or really did kind of backed it up to where we were getting how Chris Pratt was going to be in the movie. I was kind of taken aback by the trailers on how Chris Pratt sounded in the trailers. But upon seeing the movie, honestly, I gotta say Chris Pratt actually did a good job with voicing Mario. It explained basically in the movie why he doesn't really have an Italian accent. But, I actually enjoyed and what he was able to do with the voice of Mario, and actually did a good job. The rest of the voice cast is also amazing. Jack Black kills it as Bowser. Probably my favorite voice and character in the movie was Jack Black as Bowser. He kills it as Bowser, and that song, man, that's going to be a hit. That song's going to be a hit, and you know what song I'm talking about? That's going to be a big hit. Yeah. I will say, though, the one voice that did throw me off just a little bit, it really took some getting used to, and I kind of hear other people talking about it the same way that I'm like thinking about it, and that is Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I got nothing against Seth Rogen. I like Seth Rogen, and he basically said when he was doing the voice of Donkey Kong that he is just doing his regular voice. He's not going to be doing any kind of changes or really any voice acting of per se. He's just going to be doing his regular Seth Rogen voice, and that's all he's going to be doing. He's not really going to be doing changing anything or doing anything different with his voice or anything like that. So I was wondering because we didn't really get too much of Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong before the movie came out. I didn't really hear him talk too much or anything like that. So upon seeing him first appear on screen and him talking and all that stuff, the way the character of Donkey Kong comes across in the movie, he is showboaty, kind of big ego type of character. So whenever you pair that with Seth Rogen's voice and the way it sounds, it didn't really match up too well for me. It kind of threw me for a loop. It kind of threw me off a little bit with hearing with the way the character of Donkey Kong is in the movie and then pairing that up with Seth Rogen's voice. It just didn't feel like a complete match to me. It really took some getting used to throughout the movie and going more into the movie and hearing Seth Rogen's voice. It really took a lot to get into, to warm up to that voice and to the character of Donkey Kong. And I like Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's one of my favorite characters. So I was like, the way they portray Donkey Kong as a character, where he's showboaty and kind of big ego in the movie, I think it would have fit a little bit better if they had an actor who really fits that persona of big ego showboaty, maybe somebody like The Rock or John Cena or something like that, where it kind of matches up the voice to where you matches up to the character Donkey Kong to where it's like a person or an actor who's kind of like that already, and then matches that kind of match with him really well. This is basically a nitpick for me. It's not really a big turnoff or like not a big deal or anything like that in the movie per se. I kind of got used to it as the movie went on, but this was just like initial reaction upon hearing the voice of Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. It didn't really feel like a perfect matchup to the character and the voice the way it was. But like I said, it took some warming up to. It's basically a nitpick. It just took some warming up to get used to hearing Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. But honestly, nothing really against the movie in any way. Nothing bad against the movie in any way as having that. But like I was saying, I really enjoyed this movie. I liked a lot of things they were able to do. This was definitely a heavy influence movie to where if you have the nostalgia or you play the Mario games or anything like that, this is definitely going to gear towards the strong suit of if you have played the games or if you have nostalgia for Mario, this is definitely going to play strong into if you have that for the property and all that. And there's a bunch of references, a bunch of Easter eggs, and I think they did a great job as far as adapting concepts of Mario games into this movie. There's some parts where it's like it kind of has the 2D platform where it's like the side view of where it's like you're actually playing like the 2D form of the game of Mario, and then of course we got Mario Karts in there, which was definitely a pretty cool scene to see that in there. We got a bunch of Nintendo characters, of course, and it just Easter eggs galore. You hear the sound bits of different music that were in the Mario games and the Nintendo games thrown into this one, thrown into this movie to where it was like incorporated into the score. So you hear those little bits from the games and then incorporate into the score throughout the movie. I like how the use of music. I know a lot of people are saying like this is a lot of overplayed music in this movie, but honestly, I have no complaints on the music. Like, the songs that they chose to put in here, I'm kind of glad that they chose older songs. They were mostly 80s and 90s songs, which I kind of like that they did that because basically Mario did come out in the 80s, so it was kind of a neat little reference to the 80s and kind of like a little neat thing they kind of did to throw those songs into the movies for the 80s and 90s. I am kind of glad that they didn't throw any songs from today because, I don't know if any songs will really match up with the way the style of the movie is to songs to today. So the songs that they played, and I hear a lot of people complain like they're overplayed songs, stuff like that. But for me, I have no complaints about it. I enjoyed how they used the music and the songs in this movie. I had a blast watching that. Watching the movie overall and all that stuff, like I said, I had a smile on my face throughout. I was laughing throughout the movie. Like I said, this movie was definitely a movie that it was fun to watch. I had a blast watching, and it's like really the most fun I had in a while when it comes to watching a movie in theaters. So I had a lot of fun with it. This movie was definitely one I enjoyed. Honestly, when it comes to video game movies, this one is definitely going to rank high for me. Probably going to be my new favorites. This is definitely a movie that is definitely a family film. I think kids will enjoy it a lot, and especially when it comes to like this movie kind of being short, it's only an hour and a half long. This movie was definitely more fast paced, like it's just go 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 throughout the whole movie. Where it's like, you know, it's just you notice it right off the bat, and throughout the whole movie that this movie is just fast paced and it's just a short movie. The only complaint I have about that was that I wish they would kind of space stuff out a little bit more, you know, kind of have a, not necessarily a slow pace, just kind of let us breathe throughout the movie. Like, you know, if they added maybe another 10-15 minutes to kind of expand upon a couple of things here and there, let us breathe a little bit in the movie, I would have definitely enjoyed that a little bit more. But that's not really a complaint or anything like that, that it was fast paced and that it's really short. That just basically says that I like this movie so much that I wanted more of it. That's basically what I'm trying to say about it too, in a way. But yeah, this movie is definitely fast paced, so it definitely can keep the attention of kids with it being so short. Adults are gonna like it. It's definitely more of a family film. I enjoyed it myself. You know, me being an adult and all that stuff. I still enjoyed it, even though it's maybe geared towards kids, but like nonetheless, I still think that adults will enjoy it, especially if you have the nostalgia and you play the games and all that stuff. I think you're definitely going to enjoy this, even if you're an adult. This is definitely a family film. Like I said, it's geared towards families and kids, and I think kids are definitely going to enjoy this movie. Like I said, I had a blast with this movie. Had a lot of fun. Definitely, probably will be one of my favorite video game movies now. So yeah, this when it comes to video game movies, I think this one did a very great job with things it was able to do. There's also two post-credit scenes, which is pretty cool. This last one kind of sets up, I guess, something for a sequel. But it was kind of obvious that that was going to happen anyway. I'm not going to really spoil it too much, really, what this post-credit scene was, but it was kind of obvious that that was what it was going to be. So possibly we could expect that stuff for the sequel. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be a big movie. I think it's already going to set records already with such a big opening it's been having. So this movie is definitely going to be on track to make a high amount of money, definitely in the high millions. I don't know if it'll make a billion. It's definitely possible it could, but we'll just wait and see if it actually does that. But this movie is definitely going to be in the high millions. I believe it. Yeah, and just things are able to set up in here, and I definitely can't wait for a sequel if they do it. I enjoyed this movie so much. Like I said, I had a blast with this movie. Definitely enjoyed it. I definitely recommend it. But let me know down in the comments below. Did you watch this movie? Did you enjoy it? What are your thoughts on it? But that's going to do it all for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Remember, if you want to be a part of Team Legendary, all you got to do is subscribe and turn notifications on so you know I post another video. Hope you all have an awesome day. And remember, be legendary.